What have you been up to apart from that?
Been getting ready for Turkey, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Family holiday. So yeah, at UTS at the weekend, but the football season's finished for winter. My daughter, so I've got a few Saturday, Sundays back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did it finish your celebration? Or was it something to cheer about?
They don't. It's not competitive at her age.
Oh, is it
well,
not?
it is, but they don't have like a league or anything. They go into tournaments.
Is it like parkrun for football?
Yeah, well, it's everyone knows who wins and loses, don't they? But there's no league table, put it that way.
Yeah.
She's under 9s. She's in with the boys. So out of a squad of 21, there's her and another girl her age. So she's done really well.
Must be good then.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good for her. But yeah, this might be a bit of an exclusive transfer news. I think she's going to make a change this summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we've got a few weeks.
It's
we haven't got a few weeks to come out.
Chelsea ladies.
Yeah, better not talk about it too much.
Keep that on the lowdown. Wait for Sky Sports to announce
that's
that.
That's it. Yeah. Wait until the contract's actually signed until we talk about that. But yeah, it should be. Yeah, she's I know we talk about it, but she loves the football, so I'll support that as much as I can. But it is time consuming, mate. To be honest,
I bet it is, mate. Yeah, it'd be nice to get some weekends back. I expect.
I say get my weekends back. I'm filling it with golf at the minute, which is a bit of a contention at home. So yeah, Charlotte keeps saying I've got one hobby that takes up all my time, like. My fucking career running. I know I'm not an elite runner, but yeah, it's not a hobby, is it really? I mean, it is a hobby, but
yeah. I wonder could you combine the running with golf and just like do a speed session in between? Is it speed golf? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I just invented that then on the spot.
No, there is some people that are crazy enough to do speed golf, but the thing is, what I liked about golf that I've never had a chance to do because they're running.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I put your phone's in the bag for 4 hours for a round, just with a couple of mates that have been playing golf for ages, as long as I've been running. So it's more for the social side, mate. Yeah, I'm sure I've not got to that point where I've really frustrated with my golf yet, because I'm on that upward curve of learning and getting a little bit better, and I'm all right, but I'm not at their level. So if I'm going to hit shit shots and stuff, so I've not got the frustration levels that they've got, trust me. Yeah. But once that starts coming into my game, I'm probably bin it off.
Yeah,
because at the moment I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we start talking about running, which is obviously what the podcast is about, I've got to mention that we are filming pre El Crapico, which is Man United versus Spurs this week in the European whatever it is final. Are you two shitting yourselves?
Say whatever European whatever it is. It's a Europa League, still a decent trophy, mate.
No, you keep telling yourself that, mate.
I'm not.
You and Postecoglou's advisor.
Who did you beat in the last round? Some fucking Norwegian fishermen or something, was it?
I can't remember last time Spurs won a game. It's getting that bad.
Anyway, you two will be watching it together. You'll be in Turkey.
I'm on a plane on the final, which I'm quite... At first, I did have a look around to see if I could change the flights, because I thought it'd be quite nice to watch it over there. But when I realised we're playing Spurs, I just don't want to watch it. There's no upside, because we win...
There's no winner in this, is there?
Yeah, like I mentioned to you, it's not United 99 treble winning season final. So yeah, it'll stress me out. So I'm better just being on a plane, having a couple of cans of Heineken, I think.
You can get Wi-Fi on a lot of these planes now, can't you? So you can just live through an absolute torment.
No,
I'll just be worrying that Harry Maguire is going to score a 95th minute header and win it.
It's guaranteed. It's written in the stars, I think.
Yeah, well, I think as a United point of view, if we get Champions League football, obviously that's amazing. I love the Champions League, so I will be happy. Yeah, but the downside is, obviously, I know Chris is a big Spurs fan, and my best friend Mark is a big Spurs fan. So it's just, there couldn't be a probably worse situation to be in right now as a United fan.
Yeah, it's quite interesting watching you two kind of battling it out. I mean, by the time this gets aired, we will know who's won, and somebody's going to have a bragging rights out for the next
we will.
Next year.
It feels weird bragging. We've both had completely disastrous seasons, but like Gary said, Champions League football, at least we can retain some players.
If we'd have, in my head, I'm thinking if United had finished just out like 5th, 6th or something, not a great season, but we won the Europa League, I think
it's a good season. Isn't it?
It would be a good season, and to win the Europa League, I think it started 2 years ago when they first played them. So it's a long competition to try and win, but it's still a European trophy. Like, I'll give United their due. They've still been in it for trophies in the last few years, FA Cup and stuff like this.
Somehow manage it, don't they?
I don't know how the fuck they're doing it.
No.
And it's obviously not where you want to be, and the league position is an absolute fucking joke. But yeah, it's still a European trophy, and it allows you to attract players and stuff like this. Whereas the loser, it's a big loss, because then you finish 16th, 17th in the league, and you've got nothing to show for it. So it's still a lot riding on this.
Watch your space then. Watch your space.
Yeah. And if Leeds got into Europa League and you win that in 2 seasons, I'll come back to you and see.
Mate, I'll be all over it. I'll be all over it. I want it bitter. I want it salty.
Yeah.
I'll be absolutely all over it.
Yeah. Wait until you go out in the first round, then we'll.
Anyway, we better move on. Welcome to the RUNcensored podcast. This is the running podcast. For those that have just joined in.
Did you? I know you're going to do the interview. Did you see that Apple review that mentioned the fact that we just bang on about football? Yeah,
I did see that. That's why I thought I'd better shift that one on. I did start that conversation off, though, didn't I?
That's what we like, isn't it? You can always,
yeah. It is. But this is the RUNcensored podcast with me, Ben Mounsett, and Gary House. We are going to talk about running now. Let's just jump straight in, Gary, because this weekend, big weekend for running. UTS, it doesn't get much bigger than that now in the UK, does it, for trail running? No. It's a huge event now. It's been going a few years. You were there. Tell us about why you were there. And
I was on holiday this weekend, not in a work capacity, so I was crewing my good friend Rich Lazenby on the 100 miler. But also outside of that, I had lots of friends doing different distances and lots of friends that I know that I didn't know were going to be there. So the fact that it's only 45 minutes from where I live, it's the mountains that I know and love, and the sun was out, made it even better, to be honest. It was a good weekend to be part of. Interesting from my point of view, obviously. Crewing the 100 miler gives you certain access because you're a supporter, but I'm crew member. You could be getting access to the checkpoints and stuff like this. So even though I didn't have a media pass, I was in there snooting around. So yeah, I've got some good stories, some interesting stories. But that was the basis of it, mate. It's to see such a, like, obviously I've been visiting Llanberis since I was a kid, and since the race Ultra Trail Snowdonia was formed by Mike Jones, which we talked about before UTMB got involved. It's always been a struggle to get that race off the ground. Definitely, it was even bigger struggle to keep it going, I think, when Mike was involved. The fact that I think it had to have a UTMB company or style come in to run it. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And that's open for people's opinions, I guess. I think it could be good. It's just it needs some tweaks, I think. It's still crazy to me to see so many people on that Saturday being out on those hills around Snowdon. I think that it's still crazy to me, but I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen, and it's just a sight to behold, mate. Yeah,
there are big races in the North Wales, but there's nothing that big now, isn't it? It's huge now. Like you said, UTMB have come on board. It's become almost a beast overnight, hasn't it? I mean, it's still relatively in its infancy as a race, isn't it? Because it's only been going like a few years, really, hasn't it? It's not like it's not been going 50 years, for example.
I've still got the original T-shirt still wear around the house from I don't know what year it is. I spotted the guy wearing the same one, so I had a quick bit of a chat with him this weekend, and. Yeah, I can't remember what year it is. I should have checked before, but...
How many distances has it had? Because now there are a number of distances. I know it's increased as UTMB have got involved.
Yeah.
They obviously put an event on, and there's like lots of different races as part of the event over the weekend. So what are we up to now? And what did it start with?
Well, right now there's the 100 miler or 165k or whatever it is. It changes every year, but yeah, typically 100 miler, around 100k, 50k, 25k kids race.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, so five races.
It's quite standard with the UTMB, isn't it? Because they set them up as those distances.
Yeah,
maximise the amount of people entering in the weekend, and that's how they make it work.
And that, would you say like the 100k is a showpiece event, or is it the 100 miler?
Well, in terms of competition and deepness of the field, this year it was without doubt the 100k.
Yeah,
and that's not doing a disrespect to the 100-mile field, because that was still, the course record went in that. I think, I'm pretty sure. I haven't double checked the times, but I know last year we had Andy Berry and Mark Derbyshire gunning it out. So from a UK perspective, that was, from my point of view, that's what I was watching. But this year, definitely the 100k. I mean, the list of names in that 100k, you know, what did we have? John Albon, Matthew Blanchard,
Josh Wade,
Kim Collison.
Yeah,
I mean, I could go on. I didn't even know until the week ago. My good
Keith
friend,
Wigley.
Yeah, Keith Wigley, Simon Roberts. The list. When you look down the list of entries beforehand, which I only looked at on the Friday, I think, when I got there properly. Anyway, in depth, it was, and on the women's side equally. To be honest, there was really strong runners in that. But yeah, the men's race in particular this year was very strong in the 100k, and I can only imagine it's the draw of UTMB and going to Chamonix, as in the world finals or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
For those guys, it's not just the stones; it's the auto qualification. So top three go through to UTMB, so they'd get the 100k would go into the CCC, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So is it qualification for this year?
Yeah. I think, yeah. No, it is this year, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, it is become a huge event. I mean, it seems like on socials, anybody was doing it this weekend. Loads of people I know, my feed was just filled with kind of UTS. And
I guess that is because, I mean, I think the biggest in participation is the 50k, and that's competitive as well, but... So in terms of numbers, that's why it's an interesting event. In terms of numbers, the biggest is the 50k.
Yeah.
100k I'd argue, was the most competitive in terms of deepness of the fields. And then you've got the 100 miler that is it's without doubt the toughest 100 miler in the UK. I don't care what anyone says.
That was going to be my next question, because it looks like it is on paper when you look at the amount of elevation, the type of terrain, and also given the conditions as well. Like I know that can completely swing. Like we're in May now, and it could be horrific weather, as in like wet, cold, windy, but it's actually the other way, same as last year, wasn't it?
It has been last couple of years. Yeah, I last did it in not last year, the year before, and it was even hotter. Well, it was hotter last year than it was this year, and it was hot enough this year. So it's been consistently hot the last 3 years at least, from memory. I
mean, that's a tough day out with that.
I might have been getting mixed. There's one year where I didn't do it, and like I say, I crewed Simon Roberts on that year, and Mark Derbyshire. It was him and Mark Derbyshire going for it in 100 miler, and the race got abandoned maybe 6 hours in, 7 hours in. And
do you remember that? Is that the one where Mark Derbyshire was in that 100 miler and then it got abandoned and he had a few hours kip, and then they said anybody who wants to can do the 100 or 50k.
That,
He's got up and then started. I don't think he finished it, did he? But he then started doing
he didn't,
either the 50 or the 100. I think it was a 50k, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 50k.
Yeah. Fair play to him.
And that's just how crazy the stones thing is to a certain degree, because a lot of people wanted to, so they chucked themselves in the next day because the 100 miler got abandoned just to salvage some stones. Yeah. Which, if that's your dream, that you kind of, very, there's no way, because I went to, we'll talk about this year's in a bit, but I was crewing Cy Roberts that year. So him and Mark had left a certain checkpoint in Capel Curig. The race was it was a similar route, but it was a different way round then. So it got to Capel Curig, sun was out, and they were in shorts and t-shirt and quite jolly, but we knew that this bad weather was due to come in, and I could see a black cloud coming towards Snowdonia, and they left in the sunshine, and within a couple of hours I had to go and hike into a checkpoint to take some stuff to... Syed let me know he said he'd felt like crap and everything, and I hiked into the checkpoint because it wasn't an official checkpoint that you could support on in case he was in trouble, basically, because the weather was getting that bad. Yeah, and he got his wet kit on, his kit on, and DNF'd, and then the race got abandoned quite soon after that, to be honest. But Mark Derbyshire was up on the Carnethi, which is high, exposed, and mountain rescue lads had to give him a couple of layers, I think, just for him to get down.
Jeez,
and then he jumped in the 50k the next day.
That's so Mark, isn't it? That?
yeah.
Unbelievable.
So that's the weather you can get there, and I expect you'll see it there at some point, and it'll be a completely different weekend, let me tell you. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
I won't be there handing out the ice pops that week.
Yeah,
that weekend.
It's going to be flasks of tea, isn't it, when it's like that?
Yeah, it'll be hand warmers. Yeah.
So you were following the 100 miler, following Lazenby.
Yeah, the 100 miler starts 1 p.m. on the Friday.
It's a long day out, isn't it? Then it's a long couple of days out for a lot of people.
I think they get just short of 48 hours, or maybe 46 hours. Again, I haven't really checked, but it starts 1 p.m. Friday. I think the cut-off is 12 p.m. or something like that on the Sunday. Yeah. Midday on the Sunday, in time for prize givings and stuff like this. So, and that is still a good challenge for the 100 milers, let me tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the course record, just under 24 hours now.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Which gives you what's the course record at UTMB?
It's 19
something, isn't it?
40 or something, or 1930 something.
And yeah, obviously they haven't had a Killian and what's not out there yet, but yeah, this
it does put it in perspective. And if it's just under 24,
on a dry sunny day in Snowdonia, you're still getting a winning time course record of 24 hours ish.
I think it catches a lot of people out. Like people will look at sort of UTMB as, obviously, you've got your big climbs at UTMB, and you've got the altitude and everything, which you haven't got in Wales. But do you think when people just look at that event and think, it's just in Wales?
Maybe, yeah. And I mean, I don't want to speak for others, but I think it's arguably tougher. Yeah. Right? Because out on those trails, you know them very well, out around Chamonix in the Mont Blanc route, it's... Obviously,
quite well groomed out there. They're like easy.
They're well groomed. They're single track. Yeah. You're never going to get wet, boggy ground up there. And even on a day like we've just had at UTS, there's big sections of undefined grass, boggy stuff. Yeah. Which just
saps your energy, doesn't it?
And it does catch people out. We've had a good contingent of Americans and North Americans coming over, and the lad was called Ethan, I think. So apologies, but I still can't remember everyone's name. He won. Yeah. He was really strong from the start. Young Canadian up and coming runner, I assume, because I was hearing people who spoke to his parents and stuff. Yeah. That he's still learning. I think he was 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And ran under 24 hours for that route coming over from Canada. There's some run, yeah.
Incredible.
And there were some strong runners in the pack behind him.
Well, I know Tom Jolly was third in the end, wasn't he? I'd read his Instagram post. It's quite hard keeping up, actually, with all those races this weekend. Because when you're doing other bits as well, and especially when you're involved in crewing. But just to see, people's stories and how they've done, and even just the results. But I know he had a tough time of it with his nutrition, he said, and his hydration. I think he'd actually overhydrated, and he was at a point where he was coming off the mountain to drop out, and then his team ended up giving him some salt tablets, changing his nutrition and hydration strategy, and he ended up staying back in the race. He turned back round and went back in the race and finished third.
I didn't speak to him at any point, but I think the same thing. I think I'd heard that I think he said it as well. He'd openly decided he was pulling out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
It was a really good post,
around.
actually. It's really interesting. I mean, he's a great guy, Tom. I've known him a few years and chatted to him a lot of times, and he's at, GB world standard level. He was 11th
When he
in the
gets one
world
of those big 100
championships.
milers right, it'll be. I
Yeah.
think he didn't do bad, did he? But like you said, if he nails the nutrition and he just has like a really good day, it'd be great to see how he goes. To be honest,
Definitely, and it does show the standard of that race and the brutality of that course as well.
Yeah,
tough day out.
it's it is a tough day. You've got to really know what you're doing, to be honest, and have a plan. And if you've got good mountain craft and you've got good fueling, you can plan that race, the 100 miler, and you've really got to be self-aware. I think, what kind of runner am I? Am I looking to do this in 24 hours, or am I looking to do this just within the cutoffs in 45, 46 hours?
Yeah,
because they're just such a different beast and animal that you've got to
apply a race strategy, a personal race strategy, haven't you?
Because to get yourself round, it is achievable for these people that enter the 100 mile. That obviously within reason, isn't it? But you've got to know what you're doing and be mentally strong and stuff like that. Seeing Rich out on the course, obviously at every support point I could do, and you won't mind me saying, he come into the first support point after like 21k, and he was a little bit down. He was like asking that he doesn't know what his why is and stuff like this. Didn't want to be there, and you're like 4 hours into the race, Rich.
Did you have to slap him a little bit and say, "Come on, get a grip"?
No,
Rich.
it's hard, isn't it? Like, obviously, I could easily just make a joke or something, but you don't need that at that point. It's that he's not. I know he's not going to pull out at that point, but he also needs a bit of a. You need a bit of a mental boost. So I think my words were something. You just need to give it a chance. It's like a beautiful day. You don't need a why 4 hours into a 100 miler, mate. You just give it a chance, get up there. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes, a bit like we touched on at Trans Gran Canaria and some of these multi-days and stuff, like out with Holly in America, the first day was the hardest. But I also think sometimes in these big 100 milers or long events that you're going to be out for over a day, the first 4 to 5 hours can be the hardest, because if it's not going how you want it to go, that's one of the easiest times to bin it off mentally, even if...
And do you think it probably feels more overwhelming because you know how far you've got to go? Like if it starts to go wrong and you've got 10 miles to go, for example, you know you're nearly there, you can kind of hang in. But when you know you've got another, 75 miles to go, it's
and like you say,
way.
even though you shouldn't think this way, it's arguably it is one of the biggest races on the calendar, and definitely for social media and stuff, and all eyes are on it that weekend. If you're a mountain runner or you're into UTMB and that stuff, so there's external pressure even if you don't want it, I think. Yeah,
you put it on yourself.
There's not many runners that'll be out there without thinking, most eyes this weekend are on this, to be honest. So but he did great to pull it round, to be honest, mentally, because by the time he got to the next point I could crew him at, his attitude and his demeanour had completely changed, and he was on it again, which was good to see. And
is that because you gave him a tonic water at the first checkpoint? Yeah?
No, it's just because I just fucked off in his van and didn't give him an opportunity to
start moaning.
There's a point where it goes round and you can't support, as in give him outside support in terms of nutrition or anything like that, but you could be out on the course, like on the hill, offering verbal support. So you drop into Capel Curig, and I'd already seen, like, another friend of mine, Sam Skinner, who had a great race. I went there to just stood on the road, and basically we saw him go through, and then I thought, I'm not going to wait for Rich here, because I just didn't want to give him an opportunity to we're good friends, so he'll easily unload on me, I think. As in, like, but I didn't know what mental space he was in. If he knows his van, like, I'm there 500 metres away, I didn't want to give him an opportunity to pull out. And I'm not saying he would have at all.
I know what you're saying. If he comes in and he's in the wrong frame of mind, and he could easily can it there, couldn't he? Because
it's not like he wouldn't have been expecting to see me on that road necessarily, but you could go there to support and clap and everything. And if he was in a really low point still, and he sees me, and he could go, "Where's the car?" and I say, "It's over there." Right? And again, he pulled it round, obviously, mentally, and finished spoiler alert, finished really strong. But knowing myself, because I've been in those situations where I want to pull out in the first 4 hours of a 2-day race.
Sometimes you don't need much of an excuse, do you?
And if someone gives me that opportunity, it's just easier not to give them the chance.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Take it away from them. Yeah.
And Gilly, he was out working media on the course, photography, and I knew that he'd be in the actual net check, because you can have checkpoints where you don't have outside support.
Yeah.
And I knew that Gilly was there, so I knew that like he'd
see Lazenby. Yeah.
He's not like me, as he's the most positive kind of. He's gonna give him nothing but he's gonna be the hype man for him. So
good cop, vibes man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So
cop,
Rich gave him some verbal hype, I think, and sent him off up the hill. And next time I saw Rich, much better situation. Yeah.
I mean, how hard is it to get to these points to watch people? And the reason I ask that is because we know that there's been a huge uptake in the number of races. There's more races. There's a lot of strain and stresses, not just on the trails, but on the towns, on the villages in Wales, on the roads. Is it difficult to get around? I mean, it's hard to get to various points in Wales anyway, because you're up and down passes, and the roads aren't built for it, are they? Is what I'm saying.
Do you know what? It's in theory, it should be the easiest 100-mile mountain course to go around and support, because it's and the 100k is similar. Because the Paddy Buckley is amazing for that fact. I think it is actually, you never, with the legs of the Paddy Buckley, you never outside of 40-45 minutes to drive to the next support point, right? So in theory, it's great, but it's not the Paddy Buckley, is it? It's not just you and your team, and
it's a sheer volume.
So it's the sheer volume of people. It's on a Saturday. It's been one of the, well, it is, everyone, it's been consistent hot weather. You know it's Snowdonia is going to be busy, or Eryri, as it is in North Wales. And again, I'm not someone who says the race shouldn't run, but I've got the luxury of growing up in this area, knowing where I can put the van and stuff like this outside of the usual spots. If I was supporting my runner and I didn't know the area and I'd just been given the runner's handbook, on that first checkpoint and the second checkpoint, when it's busy, and this is just a 100-miler, when there's only one race going on Friday afternoon, my head would have melted, I think. Because the lay-bys and stuff, it's in Alguen Valley, so this is where Trifan and stuff like this is. So everyone going to Alguen Valley is there, just on a normal Saturday. They don't know the race is going on. It's not.
Yeah, because it's busy enough anyway, isn't it? We
know, you wouldn't have got parking space
weather,
if the race
horrendous.
Wasn't there, I don't think, at that point. I know a lay-by that's a bit further down, but I can park up and walk a mile back in, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's not even a mile, but for everyone that was just going to support their runner, there was cars parked everywhere. Yeah, I don't think there was any issue in the end, but a lot of people will have struggled to get a parking space to support their runner, so they must have had to get there very early and stuff. Yeah,
and there's a good chance, like, if you're cutting it fine, because you get pushed back time-wise for all these different places you can pull in, you might end up missing, like, key support, might you?
Yeah, fast forwarding later in the race, after you get to Beddgelert, which is, I want to say, about 110, 120k into the 160, so you're talking Saturday morning now for Rich, early Saturday morning. I'm waiting for him, and the next, there's no signal there really, right? There's the free Wi-Fi that Beddgelert, like village Wi-Fi. Yeah,
you're getting rinsed by hundreds of people watching.
Yeah, so I was there, and again, this is only the 100-milers are going through at this point, so it's very spread out by that point, and so parking's not really an issue apart from Beddgelert is busy. And again, I just managed to get a parking space, parked up, but then there's no phone signal. You could get on the free Wi-Fi, which was intermittent. Arguably, it depends what SIM you've got, but like, come on, right? Rich comes in, and but I had to go and do some family stuff in between, which was pre-arranged. But the problem I had is the next checkpoint, which should have seen Rich in about 4 hours, I think, is Reethy. Now that was just even for Rich going through, not many people had been through there. I could not get the van
really
there. It's just a little it's a starting point for one of the routes up to Snowdon, but it's also where like the steam train goes, so families, kids, all that kind of stuff, right?
No chance.
But the next checkpoint, but for them, obviously, it's a long time. The next checkpoint is where the 50k. I can't remember the name of the farm, but it's a big checkpoint, open space. It's great because it's just fields of parking. So I knew that I could get on there. So I went to the next one and spent a couple of hours there supporting the 50k runners, 100, because now that's the point where 50k runners go through, 100k runners, and the 100 milers. They will all go through there at some point. And beautiful day, Saturday. That's where I got the ice pops out and stuff.
Become quite world famous, these ice pops, aren't they?
Yeah, they're getting there. Yeah,
and I must admit, it was like an advert when I saw it. It looked incredible because you're taking a load up in almost like one of those Yeti cool boxes, aren't you?
Yeah,
with ice in.
Well,
it must have been paradise that for the.
Do you know what? Yeah,
runners.
I need to give, because otherwise he'll piss and moan about it. I need to give Robbie Britton some credit for the ice pops. Not that he came up with the idea, because I know he didn't, but he's been dishing out ice pops at races, like the World's 24 Hour and stuff like this. I know he has for a good while, and we did it last year at the UTS, and part of that was because we knew it was going to be hot, but also they'd moved. Some of the checkpoints have to constantly move because of the landowners and stuff like that. It's very difficult. Negotiations for that race with landowners and farmers and stuff. So one of the traditional checkpoints had been moved further up, and me knowing I've done the race, that's too far for them to be. It's not too far, but they're going to struggle without water. So it'd be a great point to take the cool box up and let people take an ice pop if they want, because we won't go into if it's outside support or not, but
just leave the box where it is. And,
and I think if anyone's begrudging someone taking a bit of iced water out of a box when they're struggling, it's different. Yeah. So anyway, we did it last year. Robbie wasn't here this year. He also did it for me at Pika Pika in Andorra. He lugged up the ice box. So this time I brought my big camping family ice cooler. Had 150 ice pops and set up just outside that checkpoint where everyone was going through, because I had a couple of hours there before I had to go and do the family stuff. And then the point of this story is then come back for Rich. The problem is that side of the valley, the trackers weren't working very well. So I turned up back at the original checkpoint, Reed D, parked up, ran down, with just the essentials for him because I couldn't take his big bag. Got there, but there's no signal, no tracker working. So I didn't know where he was. Waited there for a couple of hours, but the checkpoint staff wouldn't give me any info either. Anyway, so then I thought, well, has he gone through? Hasn't he gone through? I better get to the next one. So I went back to the farm, and anyway, didn't see him at that one either. So I didn't do my job very well there, but it was just made so difficult by having no signal, no tracker information, really. You'd have to drive 30 minutes for me to get onto the tracker. It was just...
Yeah, I see.
It was just a bit of a mess at that point, yeah. And I know in the back of my head, I'd already given him some emergency gels. At that point in the race, you're slowing down and you're finding it tough. But when I'd gone to do the family stuff, I'd jumped on the track and I could see he was still moving well. So the checkpoints are well stocked.
Yeah.
So as long as you look after yourself there, like, there's a limit to what you can do outside of mental support later in those races, because you're not doing a fast changeover with water bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a Formula One pit stop. Rich knows what he's doing. So although I felt bad that I'd missed him, I also knew he'd be all right.
He did send me a message, though. He did say that he'd sacked you, and next year he wants me to turn up with a Barnsley briefcase. He'd take a tonic water.
Barnsley briefcase.
He said he'd take a can of tonic, and he wouldn't even bothered if it was cold or not. That's what he said to me. But anyway, at least that's another story. But
he's So from a supporter's point of view, it's weird. From the 100 milers, I can only speak from crewing 100 miler. The first one kind of goes smooth, and that was because I knew where to park and to park early. I think other people will have had some more stressful times there even. Now UTMB are involved, and quite rightly so to a certain extent. It's standardised in terms of the rules, so the checkpoints have completely changed really, because there's things like you're set up for your runner to come in, but you're not allowed to take water before your runner comes in and stuff. So rather than me just filling the bottles up ready for him, at the first one, you're not allowed to. And then as the race goes on, it's like at other checkpoints, I'm just wandering around. I could do whatever you want. So I can imagine it heaps some stress where it's not needed, and then it sorts itself out. It's just yeah. And again, I understand why rules have to be standardised to a certain level because the sheer volume of runners and stuff like this. But yeah, it was interesting. Like
it's going to have its teething problems, isn't it? When you've got a big race like that and you've got a big
it's not teething
organisation
problems though. I don't think, is it? Because UTMB know what they're doing.
They should do. Yeah.
So they've got the resource and the manpower and arguably the experts and the people in charge that teething problems shouldn't really be happening now. It's the same people involved in the race that have been since the start.
Well,
a lot of it.
I had issues with the one in Mallorca last year. I mean, that was the first time they'd done the race, but I'm probably going to go back this year, and I want to see things have changed a little bit. Like some pretty big issues. I mean, I was quite vocal on social media about it, where they'd got this like zone, like a neutralised zone that turns out wasn't neutralised, and it was really, really annoying. I was really frustrated by it because you're paying a lot of money. That's the thing as well. Like these races are not cheap, so they should be getting these big things right. But it's how much time do you give them now? I suppose I can class that one last year as a teething problem because it was the first time they'd ever done it. Got to make mistakes, but with this, I mean.
But in terms of organisation, it's not their first 100 miler.
No. But like I suppose every 100 mile is different in terms of where it's going to be. Like this has got different challenges to say UTMB in France, hasn't it? For example, or
100%. Like obviously, I know. Yeah, it's difficult because part of the UTMB experience, I guess, is things like it's marked and things like this. So you should be able to, and because it's UTMB, it attracts runners from all over the world now, and to see some high level runners running in Snowdonia, it's exciting for me, and I love seeing it. But at the same time, my own experience from that 100 miler race, because I saw it happen and I had to help people, like people in the 100 miler. The front runners are all getting lost and losing their way because of poor marking. Yeah. So
that's an issue.
And people might come back to me at that, but you can't say it's good marking if it's consistently happening and these are elite runners and they're all going wrong and getting lost.
And something important to mention there is like this year and last year, the conditions were super hot, but you're all right when you're out in that. Like if something goes wrong, you're out in it. You're fine as long as you've got enough water with you.
Kind of worst case scenario, you overheat, you slow down, and you pull out or whatever.
But you can get away with like minimal clothing. Can you imagine if the weather was poor?
Yeah.
And we know it has been.
If it's a bad weather, if it's a bad weather year with that volume of people and stuff, and
it's dangerous, isn't it?
It is dangerous, and there's potential for it to go wrong at some point.
Yeah.
And that's not putting a dampener on things. It's just, I'm quite experienced in these events, and for UTMB race to have marking where people are getting lost in a village, like at Capel Curig, the checkpoints moved since where it's been from in the past, which that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But what the issue is people are missing turnings and stuff, and it was obvious that why it was happening. There was a marker put basically after where they should have turned over a little bridge.
But those little mistakes can be quite costly. I mean, I'm not saying someone's going to die because of it, but you've got to bear in mind that like for a race of that size,
someone's race, like I don't know the lad, but I think he was the highest ranked runner going into it potentially. Zach, something from America. He got lost numerous times, and I think he ended up pulling because of it, because he'd got lost. Last time I saw him, he got lost again. This is an elite runner.
Yeah.
At a UTMB race, he's probably there to try and qualify for UTMB. I mean, I don't know that, but he's come over here. Yeah. Like the
investment
he should
in time,
the whole
money.
Point of it being is that you can attract people, and obviously there's value in recce's and stuff, but anyone from all over the world should be able to come here and run that race with it being marked well. There's issues with the trackers and stuff throughout the weekend and not knowing, so like Robin Cassidy, for example, she's like high level in women's field. she unfortunately had to pull out of the race, but I know her support crew and her friends were really worried about her because the tracking was just stuck or it just wasn't appearing. It's like, well, where is she? She's not at the checkpoint. She hasn't come back.
That's a worry, isn't it?
And things like that are where, like, underneath
the surface,
the great event that we all see and everything, and I'm sure the majority of the field have a good event and a good experience. There's stuff like that it just shouldn't happen. Is the bottom line?
Yeah.
It just shouldn't happen. And if I'm seeing it at an elite level and a high and like a competitive level in 100 miler,
it's going to happen throughout the field, isn't it?
And it should be the same for everyone, whether you're someone further at the back or near the front. And people aren't going to go wrong when you're fucking nose to bum in a train of human centipede of people, because it just, people don't go wrong then, do they?
Unless the person at the front's going wrong. But you're right.
Well,
There's people around you, but you've got to minimise those risks, haven't you? And it's only. It's
and it
not
sounds
a problem
like we've gone into a rant
happens.
about what was wrong with the race, but probably it's just so people are aware, I guess, and maybe someone listens to it and because I think that certain things do need to improve if it's going to be sustainable in that area. To be honest, there's the first night checkpoint, which is for the 100 miler. This is going into the Friday night. They come off it's a really tough descent off Moyle Shabod. And they get into the checkpoint, and my friend Rich was 30th, 40th maximum at the point where I was crewing. And he'd planned to have some hot soup there because it said there's hot soup, and they'd ran out of hot soup. He's in the top 30 or 40 people. So you could have a tea or coffee. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but...
So I suppose if you're in those situations, and I know you've been in a few times, it's something you're looking forward to, and is it part of your race strategy as well?
Yeah, I guess, and it's not like it didn't affect him, I don't think. But if you'd finished hours after that, and if you'd come into that checkpoint much further behind Rich, they were coming in for hours, I assume they were getting more soup in, but there's going to be a chunk of people that went without soup, which makes me sounds ridiculous saying it out loud. But
people just want the soup.
Having something hot in those races can make a difference. Yeah. You're going into the night. Yes, it's been a hot day, but when it's been a hot day and then it's a cold night, or you're near water through the night, which potentially, yourself, temperature drops, core temperature drops. Yeah, you've got to manage yourself. Having some hot food is a big part of that. But there was lots of upsides as well. But
yeah, definitely. Just on the opposite side of that, like obviously going into the night, temperatures dropping and everything, but during the middle of the day, it's bloody boiling hot, isn't it? I mean, I raced this weekend. I know how hot it was. What's it like getting water on the route? Because at the moment, round by me, there's nothing on the fells really.
Yeah.
Was there enough?
Weirdly, you'd think it would be easy in that race, but there's big sections where there's nothing.
Yeah.
And one thing about that route, all those routes, it's so exposed. Yeah. Even at UTMB, and those routes, there's lots of times where you're in tree lines and below tree lines and stuff, and and you're not exposed for that amount of time. Here, there's one or two sections where you run through the woods and stuff, but it's not. Yeah, a lot. Especially when you're high up, you're exposed.
Yeah.
So there's that to think of. Water, there's just big sections where there's no water in terms of natural water that you can grab. So you've got to put that into your training plan. How long is it going to take you? Are you going with 1.5 litres, 2 litres? Some people would need 4 litres potentially, which is a big difference.
Yeah.
4 litres might be a bit extreme, but... Yeah, I don't know what they're doing because they're out for so long.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that because it's too heavy, they feel, then they're dehydrating themselves more and more. So all those things, it's just a different beast, I think, and obviously it makes it sound like it's like the most challenging race ever, which it's not, because it's still UTMB. It's still they've added more checkpoints where they can, and there is more water stops, and they do. They have got a duty of care, and it's standardised UTMB in terms of there shouldn't be too much distance before you get water. But they're still running. like I know for a fact they're still running out of water and rationing water at checkpoints, and it's happened for the last 2 years.
It's crazy,
right?
isn't it?
So that's just not acceptable. It's just not.
No, it's not.
I don't think. Like if you're a runner in that race and you've paid your money, and you've got to have a level of self-sufficiency. Yeah. But part of that race is there should be water available at a checkpoint and plenty of it.
Yeah. No, I agreed. Definitely.
So that just needs a rethink, and it's not. That's not. I'm not a race organizer or logistics or anything, but you can. I assume you can get more water in. Yeah,
well, they're gonna have to make sure they're out there, because it's all
right.
They do
it'll probably be probably won't. It'll be a cold, wet year, and people aren't needing it as much. But
it's quite.
I haven't honestly had a chance to let people's thoughts or see people's let it filter in, but because what I have seen is lots of people having great races, great experiences, completing what they wanted to get out of it and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, amazing for that side of things.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about some of those performances, because I'd looked at a few on social media. As I said, like loads of people are following this weekend were doing it, or the kind of races popped up. There was quite a number of DNFs for whatever reason, injuries, bit of probably dehydration, I would think, bit of heat stroke, quite a number of injuries. I mean, great day
That's
for the Brits.
That's a lot of Instagram posts.
Yeah, I'm expecting 10 DNF posts. Great day for the Brits, though. Like John Albon obviously winning the 100k, which I think we all expected, to be honest. Like he's a class athlete, but he's up against an unbelievable field. Not wanting to discount Josh Wade in that as well, because he was one of the favourites going into it.
They were close at Gran Canaria, weren't
they? They were both top three at Gran Canaria. John was second and Josh was third. And when I saw a race picture of this, he was quite close to the start, I think, of the 100k this time. John and Josh were in the lead running together. Matty Blanchard was just behind in third, who was another favourite for the win. So, great in terms of British participation at the top end and top level. John winning. Unfortunately, Josh dropped, didn't he? For whatever reason, he's not said on his first DNF post. To be honest, Josh is not the sort of person who's going to do 10.
He might not even do one.
I probably won't find out unless I ask him, to be honest. But it was great to see Keith Wigley getting third as well.
Third, yeah.
Did really well. And he put an interesting post out. He'd put his times over the last, I think he's done it for like maybe 4 times over the last 5 years, and his positions haven't necessarily improved. He's been second and third before, but
you've had to
his
run
time
faster.
is much faster. I think he was at least an hour faster, and he said in his post, it was quite a good one, like ultra running's moved on, but thankfully so have I. And I know he's put the work in, because he's been
it takes a lot of work to be
really
at that level now.
It does.
You get the odd obviously you probably get the odd outlier that's just naturally talented, but
true, but you've got to put the work in. I mean, Josh has had to step up, and he has done.
This sounds weird, but like obviously I've been in the sport a long time, and this is going to sound weird, but just the body shape of the top runners, it's changed. It's that you can't wing it anymore, kind of thing. You've got to be at the top of your game to be podium at these big events. So. And I've got friends that are working hard towards it and close and stuff like this, and it's hard, but that's what's good about it as well, isn't it? That's what's exciting. The times keep coming. I'm like, 5-10 years ago, people were saying, "Oh, the times are coming down. Are we peaking here or whatever?" It's never that. That's never the case, is it?
No. I think there's more money, more investment. Technology's moved on, hasn't it? Shoes have moved on, the kit, the equipment.
Even in terms of the races, like you say, to run a 100-mile mountain race in the UK, of the nature of the UTS, that race didn't exist.
No, that's true.
10 years ago,
it
didn't.
No,
so
it didn't.
People are shooting for these things. As a coach as well, I'll give a shout out to the 2 lads I coached that took it on this year, Chris Williams and Chin. I'm not going to give him his full name because he laughs about it as well, by the way. He's like a Walter Mitty. He's got about 4 different names, I think. Every time I see his race bib, he's got a different name.
He's like a footballer.
Yeah, it's just call him Chin. But those two, and I've had people in the 100k and the 50k, which I'll probably quickly mention. But I'll take the opportunity to say just a massive well done. They finished the race, but what was more impressive for me is how they've gone about the last 2 years for them, basically, to get to that point. So Chris lives in Bethesda, which is basically en route, essentially, yeah. But he actually, for the first year, of training with me anyway, worked in Manchester every day and just came home at weekends. But I think his first race we did was like the Firelighter, which is one leg of Anglesey, this big race in Anglesey, so like 35 miles on Anglesey. Yeah, and now he's at the point where he's finished that race, the UTS 100 miler, 2 years later. Massive, obviously, achievement, but in 39 hours, which is just down to his training, to be honest. Yeah, he's done everything that I've asked, whether he had to train on the flat in Manchester or whether he's now working from home a bit more, so he's got a bit more luxury of being in the mountains. But yeah, and Chin as well. Chin lives and works in London, central London. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that's, in the city. They enter these races and then they use the city as the excuse when it doesn't work out for them. Chin lives in central London, yeah, and he's just completed the 100 miler in Snowdonia.
That's impressive. And granted, he's not training on it all the time.
No, he's had some flexibility since Christmas to come up and do recce's, yeah, but that still takes a big commitment. And sometimes that's what it takes for him to get round. It's been a 2-year project for both of them. And this is, we've touched on in the past, sometimes it's not the goal that is the issue, it's the timeline. Yeah, you need to give yourself time to make it seem more achievable. And yeah, so to see them get round was amazing, to be honest. And I've got others in the 100k that finished in some great times as well. Yeah,
it's nice to follow the journeys of these runners when you know them personally. And like, I wanted to give a shout out to Nigel Hockin, who's a good friend of mine. He finished 9th in the 100k, and we know how competitive that is. He's not professional.
Top 10 in that race.
It's phenomenal. And the work he's put in for that, and he's been injured recently as well. So to come and do that was incredible. And then also Josh Beaumont, who obviously he's the fiance of my stepdaughter Ellis. So I train with him probably more than anybody. His journey's been incredible because he's only been running like 3 or 4 years, and he suffers from a medical condition that I cannot pronounce, but it does affect his spine. Yeah, AS. We'll just say AS because I can pronounce that. So I know Claire Heavy actually. She has the same condition, but I mean that actually without medication.
Ankylospondylitis.
That's the one, mate. Well done.
It's an autoimmune inflammation kind of issue.
That's right. Yeah,
so I've coached
really
people with it, and I've coached Claire in the past and stuff like this. So yeah, it's managing that condition, and don't get me wrong, they'll probably Josh should probably be the first one to say like, look, he's not. He can train like everyone else, kind of thing.
But he has to be on medication.
Exactly, but there are times. We all know what a bit of inflammation feels like. Imagine they have sometimes if they have a flare up in their joints and stuff like this.
Oh yeah,
it can be debilitating and very painful. I know from having friends that have got it, and to be honest, I know more about it because I went down a bit of a black hole. Speaking to Claire as well, actually, we both know because. At first, they thought that's what I might have had.
Yes, yeah. Well,
we touched on it, didn't we? And
you did.
I had similar kind of symptoms and stuff like this.
Josh did listen to that episode, and he did mention that to me, and because it's one of the things they think about straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he was like top 50. I think he was like 46th or something. I might have done him out of a couple of places there, but to achieve that in say 3 or 4 years and with that condition, I think is phenomenal, and he's got loads of potential to keep going now. Ellis actually went down and did a bit of crewing as well. I saw. So. She's
if she's available next time in Transgran Canaria, can you sort her out a flight?
She's in. yeah. She'll definitely pick up the right.
I couldn't believe I saw the San Pellegrino with Josh.
Sam Pell at the end.
Yeah. I can't even get that in North Wales, but out there, yeah. You must have some contact.
Definitely. Oh, she's close attention to detail as Ellis, so it'll be some good crewing for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, it's there's I could go on all day about the amount of friends and conversations I had. And going back to the 100 miler because that's what I was most involved in. Yes, Sam Skinner, who was I wasn't crewing. Obviously, officially, you're not allowed more than one crew, but he was. I know from running the Harrier team, the trail team, he's in our Harrier trail team, and I just know the amount of work he's put in, and he puts himself out there. He'll kind of put his goals out there, what he wants to achieve in these big races, and yeah, I know how hard he worked. So I got to see firsthand him coming through the checkpoints and out on the course, and yeah, Sam won't mind me saying this, but I've been in races with him, and he's not one for talking. He's the focus on the lad.
Serious, isn't
yeah,
he?
and the drive he's got in the race. People are focused in different ways, aren't they? But his focus, it's almost like an energy he gives off that you want him to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want him to do well. And
you see how much he's putting into it.
Yeah, and I can't officially help him in a checkpoint, but I can be around him and give him some verbal support. But it's almost, and sometimes that's not what he needs. It's more about listening to what he's saying and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know he's got such a great relationship with Amanda. Mandy is his wife, and those two as a team working together. It's just, that's what I enjoy about sport sometimes. Like, I'm not Sam's crew, I'm just his friend, but watching them crew and run.
And having that understanding.
Yeah, I got to witness that, and he finished really strong, I think 8th in the 100 miler in the end.
Amazing.
Similar to Tom, he had a real long stint where he couldn't get anything down, and energy levels were low, and it's the easy option is to pull out in those circumstances and just tell everyone I had a bad day with my guts and couldn't get the energy, and I'm a high level runner, so why death march it? Yeah, that's what we've all seen, and to be honest, no one would have batted an eyelid. Yeah, but to push on, like Tom's obviously done, like Sam's did, witnessed that. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's great.
And they deserve. They're the one. Everyone deserves what they want to get out of the race, but if you're competitive and you're shooting for top 10 or even podium, and you push through something like that and you see them do well, I think it's always good. Yeah. And
we've talked a lot about sort of our friends, and a lot of them are men as well, but let's think about Elsie Davis as well. I've got to give her a mention because she, for me, is one of the standout performers on the ultra scene. Brit as well. She's
consistent, isn't she? I don't know at all, but she's great.
If
she's in a race, usually you know she's going to be consistent.
She's brilliant.
Perform well.
She's super focused as well. Trains really hard. Looks every inch the athlete. So she won the 50k.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, which was great to see.
I always get the updates from Rich from Gilly. Yeah, 'cause he's he's
everywhere, isn't he? He gets places water, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a top pest when it comes to the podium athletes. He'll
send her a set of pictures for her social media, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. But he's everywhere, is Rich, on those events. But no, fair play to Elsie. And I think as well the standard of we have touched upon this before on previous podcasts, like the standard of performance for all around, not just in the male competition, but the female competition in terms of ultra distance running and racing. I think that gap is shortening. It's not widening, is it? It's only a matter of time before Courtney, for example, wins a big race outright. One of these huge races.
And I know it does happen, but like you say, there's a big difference between it happening at the biggest, most competitive events, to be honest. But it's great to see. I don't care.
Like Anna Llewellyn at the Felsman, but I'm talking like on a world stage.
Exactly. It's
not only
watching a good performance is a great performance. It's isn't it? It's there's a and again we touched on it in the past. Age isn't as much of a barrier, I don't think. And this, hope she doesn't mind me saying this. I hope she doesn't. But on the 100 miler, before, just as the route was going to start, rather than go to it was packed at the start line. Yeah. So 10 minutes before it, I jogged up the Llanberis path, which you'll know well. The tarmac bit.
Yeah.
Where you just, in that Snowdonia race, you just think, oh, fuck,
it's
what have I done?
It's horrendous, isn't it? Yeah.
Worst part going up and coming down.
Yeah, I think coming down's worse.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the route they take out. So I thought, if I jog up there, hike up there maybe, and halfway up that path will be a good point, because they're not going to be running up at that point. And I got a shout, "Hey Gary!" It was Laurie Morgan, and I'm not sure if you know her.
Yes, yeah.
great presenter for these races and stuff.
She is it S4C she's on?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does Welsh language, race, and
she's interviewed me before.
Yeah, she must have. She's Dragon's back. She's loads of events, but really accomplished runner herself. She's doing the coverage with. I'll be part of it at South Downs Way 100 next month. Yeah. So it was good to see her anyway. And the only other times I've had a chance to chat to her is in races. But she was doing, I found out she's doing 100k the next day. So she came up, we supported them all go through, had a really good chat with her. And she was like nervously excited. And she finished, I want to say 4th. I'm pretty sure it's 4th. Yeah. Wow. And won her category. Amazing. Which I know she's had so many injury struggles and stuff. I just hope that's give her a real good confidence boost. Yeah. It's almost like there's lots of these stories. Laurie's just an example of someone. Sometimes you need that confidence boost to prove to yourself that you can go on and do it. Definitely. 100k in those mountains, and she just shows what level of athlete she can still be.
Yeah, because that, as we said many times now on this podcast, that race, the standard across all the categories is phenomenal. It really is, both men's and women's.
I feel like we're just calling out names, but it's one of those events. It's worthwhile though, because
it's difficult to give, like you said, everybody praise because there were so many good performances across all the different races. But when you look at the top 3 athletes, because it does show like the podiums, doesn't it, on the website? You're talking like people like Chris Jones winning the 50k from Luke Grenfell-Shaw, from Sylvain Cachard.
What runner he is that? Again, I don't know him at all personally, but...
Oh, mate, I actually think, and I'm going to say this now with confidence, that Chris Jones is probably the most complete runner that I've ever met and know of. And the reason I say that, he's got GB vests for orienteering, for, I think, certainly for mountain running, for trail running, for road and cross country, and there's nobody else really that is transcending all those different disciplines. I mean, you could argue Tom Evans, but he's not an orienteer like Chris is, and Chris is like world champion level. Chris is an orienteer that's come into these different disciplines and bossed it. He can run any distance, any type of terrain. Absolutely phenomenal, and he's worth following on Instagram actually as well, because his training diaries are really insightful. Like I know that sometimes
we'll call him out. Maybe he'd be an interesting one to get on, just because I again, as a fan, I love people with different ranges and stuff.
Yeah, he's got a range.
Do it all, and people that throw themselves into different stuff. If you're a world champion orientator,
he's not afraid to tackle any distance than anybody else. Just do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So fascinating.
Following his journey has been brilliant. His training diaries on Instagram are really insightful. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get across like that kind of information and it not be boring, but it's not boring. Like it's interesting how he's approaching different races, how he's building his training blocks up and what he's doing to be at that level. Like he's a really good person to follow, but also really nice guy. He's always got time for everybody. I love catching up with him. So he would be a great person to get on the pod. Maybe he'll come on now. We've spoke so hard with him.
That's you getting called out, not you, Chris. Don't worry. Go back to
Chris
whatever
Jones.
You were watching.
I'm going to message him after this.
Chris with a K, isn't it?
Chris with a K, yeah. He's a phenomenal runner.
Laurie as well. Laurie will come on. Yeah. Definitely. Anyway, one of the highlights of UTS, I have to say, was for me personally was the ice pops. Yeah, and I know it's obviously everyone's highlight of the day if they manage to get one, but I almost feel bad. I literally, as that last ice pop disappeared, there's still runners coming. Yeah. I met the 50k is particularly coming off Snowdonia, were like fucking locusts coming down that mountain.
They knew they could smell the ice pops.
There was a 100 miler, obviously, and then 100k's have started coming through. But once the 50 milers started coming down that mountain, like I the last ice pop went, and I literally grabbed that thing and ran to the van so that they didn't. And I just then I didn't go back. What I wanted to see was more 50k's come through, because it must have been carnage at that checkpoint. But all I was getting all day was, where are the ice pops? Or when I had the ice pops, it was good. Yeah. But like, you've seen that video that I had to edit together. It was almost embarrassing, the amount of people that were either expecting it or knew me, and there was people, there was loads of families and supporters around, They don't know who I am.
Do you know? Well, they probably do, Gary. Now you.
No, but it's just so embarrassing, like taking selfies and stuff. And I genuinely it's great fun watching people's reactions to having an ice pop on a hot day. I got a fun video out of it, but the amount of people who were saying my name and stuff, it made it look like I just made a video of everyone that knew my name. But
we're definitely putting a QR code on you next time.
Yeah.
Do you know what we're doing next time as well? I think we need to get you an ice cream van. I think you need to turn up to these checkpoints with the sound playing as well. Yeah. So you're coming down off a descent and you can hear the sound of the ice cream van and Gary's ices. Maybe
that's what UTMB need. Just,
house scream.
They need to helicopter me in at some points with an ice cream van at the points where they can't get water.
What was the question you got asked the most this weekend? Was it, have you got any ice pops, or where's Ben?
At registration, it was where's Ben. I made the mistake of going into registration on the Friday afternoon, not into registration, but Rich had to join the queue. And I went, it's like Alton Towers there now. So you go through registration and they chuck everyone that's registered out into the merch store. So it's like taking my fucking kids to Alton Towers or something. Stay out of the shop, Rich. That's what I was thinking. So, so I walked into the shop and just stayed basically at the back door of registration. There's a little table that I sat on and I saw one of my friends, Mark Insonetti. Really talented runners. Chatted to him. He was doing 100k. But I sat on the table as they were chucking out registration, obviously. Then there was I said to you, there's a queue of 5 people here waiting for a photo. It made it look like I'd sat there, like fucking waiting for a meet and greet.
Did you have your sum up machine where you're charging people part of the merch?
It did get embarrassing, because obviously once there's 3 people, now I can't move. Someone else has seen me. Someone that was doing registration comes over, and I thought she was going to move me on. She wanted a picture. So and don't get, obviously I love it, right? I loved it because I'll tell you a story in a second. It wasn't you that I told it to, I don't think. But anyway, so worked my way through the queue of people. But it was either the thing is it's the opposite to a bank, innit? No one's coming up to me and saying, Gary, I fucking hate your stuff. You're not funny. I see what you mean. I've blocked you.
Yeah.
Anyone that's coming up to me usually is a positive interaction, right?
That's true.
So it's not an accurate kind of picture, I guess. But what was good was it was lots of Where's Ben's. Love the podcast. This is the first time outside of the running show, which I don't enjoy the outside of it because it's just so stressful and it's an assault on the senses. This was great because people are shouting, "Where's Ben?" or "Love the podcast" and stuff like this, and all I was shouting back is, "Yeah, great, put that on YouTube though."
That's my response now to people.
Write that on Spotify. Stuff like this to keep Chris happy. And
I'll jump in a minute.
But it was really good. It was really good. But I was also I'm looking after Rich. He doesn't want to be walking around with fucking David Beckham. So, but there was.
Did Rich get an ice pop, by the way? Or did they run out by the time
because I missed him, didn't I?
Rich, next year I'll make sure you got an ice pop and a can of tonic.
This is a contentious issue because I haven't got a chance to properly apologise to him yet. But yeah, he did, not only did he not get an ice pop, I give Gilly one of his cans of cold Fantas. Because to be fair to Gil, he was holed up in his car for 4 days. He'd not had anything cold in that for a couple of days.
Gilly's knackered.
I think he jizzed in his pants when he had that pants. What's the look on his face? Anyway, there was just before the start of the 100 miler, there was a lad sat on the grass chilling out, and everyone had dispersed from me because they were more interested in the start of the 100 miler. And he went, "Gary House." I said, "Hi, mate." And he was saying he looked young. He was 21, I found out, but he looked young, and it was such a great conversation because he said, "I've been watching your videos this morning. I love the podcast. I love your group of friends. He was really genuinely saying, you've inspired me to do this 25k." He was doing a 25k on a Sunday.
Amazing.
And he was like, he was like, "Oh, I love it, mate. You've honestly inspired me so much and stuff." And it's just a nice conversation. We weren't doing it on video and stuff like this. It was, and he was genuine with it. And I said, honestly, mate, thanks for like shouting out because yeah, it's really good, and I can share it on air, obviously, and tell you that and stuff because that it does matter.
It does.
I forget sometimes because like now I am a bit older, like even that one conversation was worth the whole trip, to be honest.
Oh, it's really nice, mate.
And I can't remember the lad's name. I apologise.
when people do stop you to give you like positive comments, and you're right, if people are going to do it, it's usually a positive interaction. Yeah. Nobody's going to say you should,
Gary, you cunt.
There's another explicit rating for us.
Sorry, yeah. That's what they're thinking, but they don't shout it yet. Yeah.
Although after
they know I've got a black belt in Chinese burns.
After the episode with Mel Sykes, my mum messaged me straight away and said that I'd lost my accent because obviously me and Mel are from like 5 miles apart, and
she's diluted it.
Yeah, she said that's it. She loved it. She loved the episode with Mel because it just made her feel like right at home. So
sorry, Ben's mum, for the language.
Yeah, it's nice now. My mum does actually watch and listen to it. I don't think she did at first. I had to sort of send her the links and say, come on.
Let that play, and then you don't have to watch it.
Give us a view, but she's well into it now.
Do not fast forward the adverts.
She still hasn't put a comment on there yet, so I need to train her how to do that. But no, we do want to encourage people to put some comments on, don't we? Because we get so many nice, like verbal comments when we see people in real life. But we just want to.
It really makes a difference. Producer Chris here, just chiming in, just looking at some of our stats. We're closing in on 40,000 audio downloads, which is incredible in the first 6 months, 10,000 in the last 30 days. We're really seeing some growth, and it really is down to the interaction. Spotify are asking us to, get comments per episode. So if you are listening to this, we'd really appreciate you just scrolling down on your Spotify and popping us a comment. We do a little poll. That all helps. Apple's a bit different. They want a review, so you only have to do that once. But if you happen to be on YouTube, then just anything.
Share it, put it in your fun groups. It's word of mouth for podcasts. Get it shared, isn't it?
It really is, and it really does mean a lot to us. It is a big effort to make these, especially for me to sit here and
doesn't mean that much.
Especially for me to sit here and listen to you two waffle on for so long. But no, it really means a lot, and it's nice to hear those comments. But if people can put them on the platform, it really helps.
Yeah,
us.
And don't fast forward the adverts because we've got no sponsors yet. So that's it. Yeah, we need to trickle them adverts in.
We're still waiting on San Pellegrino, aren't we, as well? Come on, San Pel. Sort us out. Or M&S actually would be a good one. You've suggested.
I'd like Kit Kat to sponsor us because they've started doing a vegan one, and it's great.
Are you vegan?
I'm dairy, aren't I? So vegan helps.
Oh yeah.
You were just saying then about it's nice to see people who recognise you like in public places. Well, I didn't tell Chris this, but after we filmed the last episode at mine, Ellis and Josh were really starstruck that they'd actually met Chris in real life because they've heard his voice on the podcast. They watch the podcast all the time as well. And it's all they could bloody talk about afterwards. They were like, oh my God, it's like we've actually met him in real life. It was, honestly,
they didn't ask nice. For a selfie.
Yeah, well, they didn't know. They were too starstruck, Chris. Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah.
Where was I then?
You were there, mate. You were there, but it was they were because I think they know about.
I was loading the van, and
they did. They know the fact that you've done some pretty big things like on Clarkson's farm and the Molly May thing. So they were quite impressed, Chris. So a few people have actually said maybe we need to get Chris on as a proper guest because they'd like to know a little bit more about him.
I think they'd just be disappointed. I mean, there's very little I can contribute to the world of running. Let's face it.
But we do like Chris's interactions. It's good. It's definitely a 3-man team. So it's nice to give him some acknowledgement.
It's definitely needed. What would you be tempted to do a UTMB?
Well, I did actually get an entry for the 20. The 25 is.
Oh, you bottled it again?
No, I didn't bottle it. No, I didn't bottle it. No,
give it to someone else.
I think it clashed last year. The 25, 25k. I really like that distance because I know I enjoy that distance and I can race that distance.
It's just up and down Snowdon, I think.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
which obviously, what I say, it's just. What I mean is, it's obviously it's not. You've done that many times. It's not like it's something.
Yeah, and do you know what it is for me as well? And everyone's different out there. But I like when I'm racing, I want to be ultra competitive and I want to race as hard and as fast as I can over that distance.
Yeah.
And I know if I stepped up to a 50, I'd have to totally change my training, totally change my approach. It wouldn't suit me as much.
We could do the 50k.
Yeah.
Imagine us in the 50k with 2,000 runners out there. That would be good
that's
fun,
true.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I would do it with you,
Are
definitely.
we going to the one in Chamonix?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to work on that, Chris. Yeah, that's
I mean,
I'm really
up for that. I mean, I don't want to do any running. I might go for a jog or something. But taking the podcast stuff there, right?
As well as your comments on Spotify and YouTube, we're also going to do a crowdfund now to get Chris out of Chamonix.
I want to see what this is all about.
Yeah, it would be good to get out there. One of the dreams of the podcast is, and we're hopefully working on this, is to get out to the UTMB finals in Chamonix this year.
We could do some good podcasts there,
I think
right?
we do some
a lot of good
great
people.
podcasts. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, let's try and make that happen because it would be fantastic.
Wonder what because going back to UTS and UTMB and stuff, I wonder how it will play out in the next few years because it's such a
it's growing
in
so much
terms
as
of
an
the
event.
calendar and stuff.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants stones if they want to go to UTMB and stuff like this. There's obviously the UTS Snowdonia, Eryri, and there's also the Arc in January. So that's May and January. That's like traditionally the winter would be a bit of downtime, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's not now with things like the Spine and the Arc and stuff like this. There's May is it's a weird time for it to. It's I know why it's in there in the calendar, but also like for example, like Centurion had an event this weekend, and I know it's a different style of event. So and I know it was a real success, and they had course records there and everything. So it's obviously still mega competitive, but they've built a big community over an amount of years. It's such a drain on other trail races. Not just in the area, it's across the UK because if you're in a UTS in mid-May, what can you do for a month before and a month after? It's a big section of the calendar that is just drawn into this like fucking vacuum of UTMB.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because I forgot to mention it earlier as well because I was wanting to talk about the British Fell Running Championships, which is actually the next one's this weekend in Ireland.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people have entered it? I think it's less than 100. It's about 90 people. And that if you win that race, you are the British, I think it's the long one, this one that's coming up, long distance champion. It's either the short, although it might be the short I might be wrong there because Stucker Croyne the other week was one of the British races now. They do single events now where you crown the long or the short champion.
Where's this? Over Ireland?
So it's in Ireland. I used to go all the time, like every year there was a short, the medium or the long, and I'd go without fail, and it was one of the best weekends on the calendar. And that is suffering now, and that's the British Championship, Fell Running Championship. It's a huge event, but it's not that well publicised. It's obviously not attracting the same amount of people because they've been drawn towards events like UTS, for example. And it's such a shame that something that holds so much prowess, if you're becoming a champion of that, British fell running,
might enter.
It's gone, hasn't it? Yeah, he could enter. But no, it's a real shame to see that race suffering. And I think I'm taking nothing away from UTMB and what they've done because they're obviously getting the pull and getting people to race their events. But something needs to happen with the organisers of the British champs and the English champs. Even the English isn't as bad because that always gets filled up, but they need to do something more to draw people to these races, whether it is a trials race for a GB team or whether you offer more prize money or whether you just do better with the marketing. But I think that is an issue.
Marketing is a big thing because I'm a coach as well, and the increase of percentage of people that want to do UTMB is just increased year on year on year, whereas it's always been there and it's always been an aspiration to go and do UTMB, and I'll never take that away from people. But a lot of people these days, what I know is like 10 years ago, you kind of knew all the races and stuff, and UTMB was out on its own and it's like a bucket list mythical race, whereas now because of the complete kind of just the machine of UTMB, I think a lot of people just don't know about other races. No. They don't know about other trail events that are just getting kind of
pushed out, really, aren't they?
And I know we're not here to say, well, they should be doing marketing different or whatever. But I tell you what, you can't do in the next 5 years if you've got a trail company or a trail race, is just sit on your hands and expect because trail running is booming that you're going to get numbers in your race.
Yeah,
you're going to have to be proactive. You're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to maybe not be stubborn with your race dates. You're going to have to do something. Because there's like this, the UTMB train isn't stopping.
No, this machine is.
There's going to be another
yeah.
UTMB event in UK
100%.
At some point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and for all the pros and cons, and we've mentioned a lot of cons, quite rightly so as well in this episode.
Yeah.
But you've got to admire what they've done
People
as well.
Might think
from a
we're
marketing
hypocrites because I've been out to work for UTMB, and it's not that we're hypocrites. It's just that we want to shine a light and we want to make people aware of all aspects of everything. And like I said, I called out some, maybe you'd call them tweaks that weren't great with the race, but at the same time, out of thousands of people had a great day. So,
and you've got to respect what they've created. And yes, it's a business, and yes, they're making money, and they are sort of squeezing out other races, events, and companies. But they've created something special there. Like, you've got to applaud them for what they've done. And that style of event, I think, now as well has become a thing. Not just with the UTMB, but you look at Marathon de Mont Blanc, which I'm going out to at the end of June. It's essentially the same structure as a UTMB event in that you've got distances from 10k right up to ultra distance, and there's about 7 different races as part of that. They've made a big thing of it. So that style of event, and having those different distances within one event itself in one place over various number of days, they've created that, and that's probably the way to go, isn't it? I'm not saying that for every trail race, but that's becoming a bit of that's becoming a popular format now, isn't it?
I think so. And you just have to be, and maybe you will see more creative races come along and stuff like this. And there's obviously lots of younger people come into sport, which is amazing to see. So maybe that can be catered for slightly different and stuff like this. There's definitely room for everyone. If I was to give some advice, it would be like, if you're a runner, don't keep the blinkers on, just like do some research and speak to people and see what's out there. And because UTMB might be for you, but it's a massive financial expense just to get there and to be there and stuff over a period of years. You have to really want to do it. If you just want to be in the mountains and enjoy a race with good atmosphere, you can do that outside of UTMB. And also on the flip side of that, if you want to run UTMB, be really structured with it in terms of with a plan. Don't just think I'm just going to go out and no one's going to just go out and wing 100k in Snowdonia, are they? Yeah,
no chance.
So you just have to put some plan in it, just to give yourself the best shot to be there. Because still, having witnessed it, seeing people finish the UTMB in Chamonix is still one of the best experiences I can see from a
it's
spectator.
Pinnacle of the sport, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's the pinnacle.
And it's everything I love and hate about the sport all in one, I think. Not that I hate any aspect of it. It's just I haven't really got an interest in being in that human centipede of a race, but I still want to finish UTMB one day. I've never done it.
Definitely.
So it
is magical. You've summed it up perfectly there, haven't you? It's everything we love and hate all rolled into one. But you can't knock what they've done, what they've set up, what they've achieved. It's phenomenal. But they've just got to make sure now that they get
what I will say is
right.
A positive. I think they really struggle in Llanberis. I think it's not like Chamonix. There's a council there that's difficult to deal with. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that's not a shock to people that know the area and stuff like this. But they put every effort they can, and they've really tried hard to make it an experience of a finish and stuff like this from what it was a couple of years ago. Like the start and the event village, it's a good atmosphere now. It's slightly moved, and I think that's a positive. That's all going in the right direction, because let me tell you, it's so difficult for them to get that right in Llanberis. It's not set up really for that volume of people. There's issues with just with everything on that race day, couple of days, being in Llanberis. So I think they manage that really well, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the moment, they've got people like Matt Ward on the mic for 24/7 while it's on and stuff like this. So, and he'll tell you it's hard to put on a race in that town, village, whatever you want. So from a start-finish line perspective, they're doing what they can, I think.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's good to hear. So yeah, good recap of UTS.
So if you finished any of those races at the weekend, big well done. If you started but didn't finish, unlucky.
Don't
keep the post to a minimum. We're not interested.
We will shame you on the RUNcensored Strava group.
Yeah, and if you didn't get an ice pop, then
the ice cream van will be there next year.
I'll see you next year.
And we'll see you next Tuesday. Good episode. Good recap.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because like I find myself flip-flopping between I'd love to do that race now because it's in my backyard and stuff again, but and just enjoying it from the outside, to be honest.
And you're in a good position where you could train, actually. You could just nip over, can't you?
I know. Yeah, I mean, I've done them.
Yeah.
There's not an inch of that route that I don't know, so it's not. That's not the problem. But yeah, I don't know whether I need to do that race. I think I'd maybe rather do a Paddy Buckley, to be honest.
Yeah.